everybody. The recording has started, so welcome to day 2 of CINI 2022, which is brought to you by the Canada-India Network Society, CINS, and it's also the GAPIO Mid-Year Meeting, Global Association of Physicians of Indian Origin. On day 2 today, we will open a new vista of integrative thinking with thought leaders and practicing physicians to share transformative, innovative pathways for a healthy civil society. My name is David Michael Garg. I'm one of the board members of CINS, and it is my pleasure on this Father's Day to introduce my father, Dr. Aaron Garg, who will be moderating and opening up our sessions today. And my son is in the background there, so it really is a special Father's Day with his grandfather, myself, and his grandson. So, Dad, why don't I throw it over to you to get the conversation going on an integrative thinking approach to integrative health.
Thank you, David, and again take this opportunity to wish Happy Father's Day, Happy Grandfather's Day, and also to all mothers and sisters and wives who make it possible that we have Father's Day. So thank you, and really very warm welcome to each and every one of you for joining, taking time from your very busy schedule. So good morning, good evening to some of you. We are coming across the globe. It's such a wonderful thing that we are connected, timelines, Vancouver, Toronto, New Delhi, and I think what a technology we have. Namaskar, bonjour. I acknowledge we are sharing this session from the unceded, traditional, and familial territories of Salish Coast Nation. I share this invocation with great sense of historical perspective, as the theme of today's session is integrative thinking, fusion of best of East and best of West. In invocating this acknowledgement, we recognize our past. My friends, in Canada, this has become a tradition that we acknowledge this history of the territory. But what really does for me is it connects the past to the future and build the harmonious present. So our today's session really is built around building better, healthy society through integrative thinking, as you will see from all the panelists. The plan is to have Dr. Gangli, who I'll introduce in a few minutes, who is also co-chair, will start the introductory remark and bring the summary. We have a pre-recorded tape of Dr. Nagendra, premier leader in integrative care in India. We have our own Shobnaji talking about personal experience. And then we have a group of 6 very leading practitioners, physicians, who have their own practice based on integrative thinking, integrative care, lifestyle medicine. Each one of them will speak for 5 minutes, and then we'll have a group discussion. There will be ample time for chat line and your questions. The most important thing is that this is our key recommendation on how to lower the burden of chronic diseases in the community. Transformative, innovative change to bring more sustainable healthcare. And we'll be talking all morning about it. So as engaged you are, better it will be. So without further ado, great pleasure to introduce my colleague, Dr. Nirmal Gangli. Dr. Gangli is a friend, a colleague, member of the GAPIO, Global Association of Physicians of Indian Origin, a group which represents close to 1.5 million physicians. 1.5 million physicians who are established themselves around the world, and CINS is great, privileged and proud to be associated with GAPIO as a partner, and Dr. Gangli is representing GAPIO in this session. Dr. Gangli is a premier physician. He was the Director General of Indian Council of Medical Research, the highest body in India for medical research. During his term, he built tremendous links between Canada and India, and CIHR and ICMR. We are very grateful to Doug Ganguly for that. During COVID period in India, he led development and work on a vaccine. He continues to work tirelessly on behalf of health in India. So we're very fortunate to have him as co-chair. And in preparation of this meeting, he was telling me, and I'm sure he will have that in his introductory remark, that the recently Government of India, in consultation with World Health Organization, established Institute of Traditional Medicine, and he is playing a role in that as well. So Dr. Ganguly, warm welcome, and over to you for your introductory remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Garg, and thank you, Devon and Jesse, as well as Gapio and Sini and Anupam, who has brought me here with you. It is great pleasure to be with all of you. I have spent a lot of my time in Canada with the Winnipeg and with the Canadian Innovation Fund and Canadian Grand Challenge programs. So it is very nice to be back again. So what I will do, I will bring in integrative medicine, that how it developed in a traditional way as well as in a modern way, and how both of these benefited each other in tackling COVID. So as you know that when Omicron came, most of it was multiplying in the nose and upper respiratory tract. So it has to be prevented there. So in Indian yoga and pranayam, there is a pranayam known as Brahmrika pranayam, which is known as humming. And humming actually releases nitric oxide. And nitric oxide brings down inflammation and kills viruses and other organisms. It has to be in a concentration, so it has to be done in a very scientific way. And with that, actually, two Indian companies and some global companies developed nitric oxide spray as a nasal spray to bring COVID numbers down. So these are the very good examples of the integration of a traditional system as well as the modern system in this fashion. I will give you a few more examples. Like there was the National Institute, the Indian Premier Institute, like All India Institute in Ayush, they developed a oily preparation known as Anutel, in which there were 4 herbal preparations in that, and these ultimately were used to few drops in the nose to tackle the viral load in the nose. And the similar system was developed by Imperial College in London, and they had some chemical component which were coming out of those plant ingredients, and that also underwent a trial in India and is now in the market. So again, I gave you 2 examples of integration of the traditional system and the modern system. I will give you 2 or 3 more examples and finish in this particular session. Another area which is very important is that COVID actually hits the gut and causes dysbiosis and causes inflammation. So there was a US company who came up with a preparation which are known as probiotics. Probiotics are the friendly organisms, and this particular probiotic didn't multiply or invade the gut, but it not only brought down the inflammation, it also created better immune responses, and it also removed the dysbiosis, which is one of the major threat in the long COVID. And this particular preparation is now also available as a drug, and the US company has got the permission for marketing it in India. Then we were talking, I was just looking at another drug which actually was developed in Miami, and they came to Dr. Pratap Reddy with this preparation. This preparation has emanated from Phyllanthus amaranthus and Phyllanthus niruri and Madras patensis. This was used as an antiviral for hepatitis B. This particular preparation they formulated in a different way, so it also worked on against COVID virus, and it also brought down the inflammation and built up the immune system. So this could go through the Ayush system, so could go both as a phytochemistry in the modern medicine as well as in the Ayush system. Another very good example of integration and ultimately reaching people for their benefit. Last two examples which I give, there are a huge number of other examples, but I will just stop with these two examples. There is a gut-brain axis, and it was very nice to be shown that there is a book which was written the for the depression, and depression was one of the major long COVID symptoms. And even if you gave them antidepressant drugs, it really didn't work so well. So there is a team in the Hong Kong, Dr. Su and others, who worked with the probiotics, a group of probiotics, which is also used in Parkinson's in one of the major groups in Luxembourg, and they could show that depression and some of the long COVID symptoms were ameliorated. There are a large number of antioxidants in the Indian system of medicine. And one of the preparation, which when people will laugh when I mention it, it is known as Chyawanprash. This came from, they say that it came from the sages. Even some of the very learned people, even the major drug house, one of the ladies who runs a major biotechnology drug house, when she was stuck with COVID, she also took it. And this was one of the antioxidants. There are so many antioxidants which are there, which people could take. But this antioxidant is normally taken routinely in the Indian household. And it has a jumble of things, but a very strong antioxidant. When I was stuck with COVID, I tried to take it, but it doesn't taste that good, so I left it out. But I ended by saying that I could give you 10 more examples of how in the COVID era, the integration of traditional system of medicine as well as the modern medicine happened, and they benefited, and many of them were actually followed great science and carried out RCTs so that you could use these entities with great advantage. So thank you, Dr. Garg, for providing me this opportunity. What I say at this given moment, that there is a tremendous opportunity of going and integrating traditional medicine with the modern medicine. Traditional medicine sometimes has advantage. There is a lady in India who did Ayurgenomic. You know that in Ayurveda, there is a personalized medicine system, which is known as Kapha, Vata, Pitta. And you could really, the same person with the same symptoms, if he is having a different kind of signature, he is giving a different treatment, which is very, very personalized. So what she did, she found out really the genomic signature in all these three systems, and now is using this system to find out entities which will could be used as a personalized medicine in the modern system. So, and one of the major things is which she is trying is a multiple sclerosis. There is a demyelination which occurs in COVID, and then some people get paralyzed. And again, some of these entities could be used for that. Thank you, Dr. Garg, for this opportunity.
Thank
And
you.
I'm very glad to meet all of you and looking forward to listen to the talks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ganguly. And Dr. Ganguly will also stay all through. It's quite late in India, but he has very kindly agreed to stay with us and will be participating in the summary of the section. I see that Dr. Sharman Lee has joined us as well. Sharman Lee is the Dean of Health Sciences at Kwantlen Polytechnic University, and CINS is working very closely with her in this integrative field. So thanks, Sharman, for joining us. At this time, it's my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. H.R. Nagendra, Padam Shri Dr. Nagendra. Dr. Nagendra is the Chancellor of S. Vyasa University, which stands for Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusthan Samasthan. S. Vyasa is the premier institute in India, which started in 1978 with the idea of integrative care. He will be speaking to us on Time Has Come for the Best of East and Best of West. Dr. Nagendra S. Vyasa and CINS are collaborators and partners for sustainable healthcare and integrated thinking. And we are really looking forward for our ongoing collaboration with S. Vyasa. And Dr. Nagendra has a PhD in mechanical engineering, did a postdoctoral. He has a Vancouver connection. He did a postdoctoral at the University of British Columbia. He's very keen in establishing the capacity on integrative care in British Columbia. We are working with him on this. He was a scientist at NASA, and then he went back and established this university, and ever since tirelessly is working on integrative care. So Jesse, over to you to start. He's coming to us from a recorded video.
My dear brothers and sisters, namaste. Welcome to you all for the wonderful session that CINS is organizing to bring to the world at large the integrative health system, which is emerging as the right healthcare delivery system in the world at large. Many of the top hospitals in the universities have installed the integrative health centers. Why this is happening? Because we know that no single medical system can meet the challenge of these non-communicable diseases. We know the tremendous achievement of the modern medical system in the last century, when we dealt with infectious and contagious diseases, which are bringing such mortality in millions and millions of people all over the world. Thanks to the modern medical system, we learned how to use the vaccines and antibiotics and others to not only prevent these dreaded infectious and contagious diseases like cholera, flu, malaria, typhoid, and whatnot, but also to deal with them by suitable medicines when they get stuck with these diseases. So we were very enthusiastic. The WHO announced to the world, we are going to bring health for all by 2000. But as we reached the end of the last century, we found that the pandemic is now shaped itself into non-communicable diseases. Asthma, diabetes, hypertension, heart problem, epilepsy, migraine, irritable bowel syndrome, cancer, and all the host of psychiatric problems. Naturally, the medical world wanted to find out whether we can have some vaccines, whether we can have medicines to completely cure these ailments. But as we proceeded further, we found that these diseases are not like infectious and contagious diseases because they are not caused by germs or infections from outside. They're all essentially born out of our own systems, body, mind, emotions. And therefore, over years, we have learned how to deal with the symptoms of this disease. If the sugar level is very high, then we have the powerful tablets, and then we have insulin to deal with them. So for each of these ailments, we develop medicines, surgery to deal with them effectively. But since we do not know the root cause of these diseases, we have no solution for their complete cure. Once a diabetic, ever a diabetic. Once a person gets hypertensive, you will go on taking medicines for whole life. If you have cancer, your days are numbered, have come to pass. Why? With all the tremendous success that we had in the medical world, in infectious and contagious diseases, and having developed such very powerful pharmacological interventions, which work at each and every level of the body, starting from the brain, the neurotransmitters, and beta blockers and whatnot, down even to the genes, gene therapy. Why we have not been able to tackle these problems? As said, the root cause of these diseases are not merely in the physical body, but they are often called as lifestyle diseases. And according to yoga, they all originate in the manomaya kosha. That's called Adi. According to yoga, according to Upanishads, we do not look at the human beings as only having the physical body. According to the research done by our ancient masters thousands and thousands of years back, they have found that this entire creation is not just an electromagnetic field or the gravitational field or just a quantum field, but there are 4 more layers. The bioplasmic field, the mind field, the information field, and the bliss field. All these 5 fields are in continual interaction. A change in one brings the change in the others. If that's the macrocosm of the whole creation, and the microcosm, each one of us have the physical body or the annamaya kosha, then we have the pranamaya kosha, the bioplasmic body, then we have the mental body called the manomaya kosha, then we have the body of intellect and wisdom, that is vijnanamaya kosha, and the bliss body, anandamaya kosha. So each one of us have all these 5 bodies. And the creation as such also has these 5 different levels. We call it as fields. And all these are in a phase of continual change. Change characterizes the entire creation. For example, 1 billion cells get created every day in our body, and 1 billion are destroyed. Since we came to this presentation, all our bodies have changed. What to talk about the mind, emotion, intellect, the prana, and whatnot. everything changing. So question comes, is there something which is beyond, which does not change? Yes. That is called our original self, called Parama Atman, the Atman of all of us, all human beings, all creatures, living and non-living beings. That is the original state of the creation, which is beyond space, time, causation, that which does not change. From that changes Nirakara Brahma, Nirguna Brahman, pure consciousness, absolute. From there emerges this creation. So from our original state, we all have come. That is the total understanding. So in our Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss field, the bliss body, we are in a state of wonderful happiness. The mind has not come yet into action. It is in the potential form, it is said. And that state is a state of bliss. We all have the glimpses of that when we have very deep sleep every day. Then when you come to the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the information of the wisdom body, then we have the manifestation of our thoughts, the mind, called the chitta. And at that level of Vijnanamaya Kosha, we have all the knowledge of the whole creation. Vijnana teaches that. And every action is governed by the right knowledge, the fullest knowledge, the total knowledge. Therefore, we are in a state of perfect health. And we have all the powers to do and undo things. And such were the greatest of the yoga masters who fathomed this whole creation and also had total transformation in them. They had the powers which are part of the Ashtasiddhis, Anima, Mahima, Garima, Prakamya, and all that. Hanuman is an example of that Ashtasiddhis described in Ramayana. Make the body very small, make the body huge like a mountain. You can fly in air with any speed of mind. All those things. Anima, Mahima, Prakamya, all that. So that is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. From there, when we descend further and contract in the process of involution, called the prasava, or the creation, then we come to Manomaya Kosha, the mind body of the mind, the thoughts. Here, I am different from you, you are different from him, and he is different from her, starts coming up. And then the emotions, I like this, I don't like this. I want it, I don't want it, starts. The emotions start. Attractions and repulsions come. Then they grow faster, more and more. And as a result of that, then they become very powerful emotions. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsari. Anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, infatuation, arrogance. What is the result? They start controlling our actions. And when there is a conflict between the right action and the wrong action, powered by these emotions, the emotions take over and you start doing wrong things. I give a simple example of a diabetic who was asked by the endocrinologist, no dear, you can't take your sweets, no birthday cakes, no gulab jamun, no sweet meat. Everything you have to stop. So there's a conflict. Your tongue is demanding, come on, go and eat, go and eat. What is life without sweets? And particularly, how can you miss your fond sweet of birthday cake? When you go to a birthday party, how can I remain quiet of not eating the birthday cake? Come on, go and eat, go and eat. The Buddhi tells. But still the other Buddhi, higher Buddhi says, no, no, no. Follow the endocrinologist. You can't eat. If you succumb to the tongue, then the Vijnana also says, okay, go eat. What is going to happen? There are our doctors who prescribe some medicines or some very strong things like insulin. Take that and be happy. Life is for happiness. Why should you control the sense organs and subjects? So you go there and start eating. In the process, you have done something against what is right. This in Ayurveda is called Prajnaparada. That is the start of this modern NCDs. It's called Adi. Adi percolates down to the Pranamaya Kosha, very near the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, and start bringing the imbalance. So there are 5 parts of Pranamaya Kosha: Prana, Apana, Samana, Udana, Vyana. And they govern all our physiological functions in the body. So they start getting disturbed completely. They start becoming very hard, very soft, very speeded up, and all these things. That percolates down to the physical body. And in the physical body, you start hitting the higher senses of the brain, and the hypothalamus is triggered, and the endocrine imbalance, the autonomic imbalance takes place, and the stress reaction spreads throughout the body. And you have that particular organ, which is the weakest, succumbs. Then it becomes a vyadhi. Adhi jab vyadhi is called. The ailments caused by adhi in the mind. What all we do in the modern medical system is to deal with the physical body, give symptomatic relief. Good, necessary, nothing wrong in it. But unless you remove the root cause of the disease, adhi, you have no possibility of complete reversal. Therefore, most of the medical experts, almost 99% people, believe that these are incurable diseases. The word cure has to be removed from the dictionary. That's what has happened. Why? Root cause is here. So what is to be done? So combine both. As Swami Vivekananda said, combine the best of the East with the best of the West. Best of the West is modern scientific research. Tremendous amount of research that has undergone. And the great inventions and others that have come up. Very powerful medications and wonderful surgeries, everything with gadgets and gadgets, measuring equipment, all have come in such a big way. So we should not belittle them. We need not say that, no, we don't want. We must use the best of that and use our Indian system. It's here that yoga comes into picture. Ayurveda emerges. And Ayush systems, which consist of Siddha, Yunani, homeopathy, naturopathy, and Sovaripa. All these things are based in this knowledge base and can provide the remedies at all the different levels. So a need has come where they have to integrate them. So in most integrative centers, we have just added on a few things here and there. And you have many challenges. How to put them together? So what is the scientific basis on which you have the integration process is not understood. So here in the yoga, in the Upanishadic lore, we have understood the whole causation of the disease in the Manomaya Kosha. So You know all the things that are necessary at the body level. The proper food, the healthy food, avoiding junk food, avoiding those foods which are going to aggravate the disease. For example, salt-ridden food is contraindicated for hypertension, and so on. So we use that medicine. And if necessary, the surgery also. But then we add on the dimensions of yoga and eye systems. Today, what is needed in the world at large is a very effective healthcare delivery system, which has its well-proven efficiency, usefulness, benefits to deal with the different diseases, number one. Number two, you should have least side effects. Many of our drugs that we are developing using double-blind studies and spending a few $1 billion, when the medicines come to the market in 1 year or two, get out of order. So long-term follow-up studies are needed. So the third is the evidence base. What is the proof? So we must have good published papers. So we want a healthcare delivery system which is very useful, very beneficial, and cost-effective, and evidence-based. That's what the integrated approach of health can offer. So here in our Prashanti Kuteram, we have 450 bed facility in which we deal with human beings at all levels and use allopathic system or the modern medical system. Then we have the yoga therapy, the naturopathy, the homeopathy, the Ayurveda, physiotherapy, acupuncture, everything under one roof. You get the maximum results out of it. As we move towards the International Day of Yoga, we have targeted 25 crores of people to practice the common yoga protocol of yoga on significant June 21st. So the knowledge base that we have, the Panchakoshas and their structure and the laws that they govern them, all are very useful to bring about a wonderful Kriya section as well. Integrated approach of yoga therapy has been emerging itself as a new tool for integration. So whether it's in cancer, as we have been doing with the MD Anderson Cancer Center, or as we are doing in Harvard, UCS Hub, in diabetes and the HIV, in all these places, we have started this research and have started publishing research papers. So integrative health is the right choice for all of us to move towards the matter-based paradigm to consciousness paradigm, and from simple bricks towards special foods that we are going to do that. And it's here that the integrative health program will become more and more effective and more effective. So in our Arogya Dham, initially started this with allopathy adding yoga therapy. We called it integrated approach of yoga therapy. The results were very fascinating and people started coming in more and more number. We developed into a 100-bed hospital. But then as we progressed, we found that some of the conditions like paraplegia and deep mental retardation and others took long term, a month, 2 months, to show effective benefits. Then we thought, yes, we should bring in other dimensions of naturopathy and also the Ayurveda in the form of massages, Panchakosha, dealing by Panchakarmas and so on. That's how we started building Ayurveda, naturopathy into our system along with physiotherapy. Over the years, we went on studying as to how the new system is going to work. And to our great joy, we found that is all working effectively and very, very useful. With hardly any side effects. And slowly we started developing the research into this direction of integrative health. So, my dear friends, brothers and sisters, a time has come where we add on the dimensions of Ayush into the modern medical system. NIH in the United States have promoted the research for all those who are doing this integration. Therefore, it is time that we in India also recognize this thing and see that it comes up in all the hospitals. Fortunately, our former Honorable Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, brought out this concept in all the AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. When the new AIMS were coming, there was also the buildings that were brought for Ayush systems. And almost in now, all the AIMS, there is the adjunct new building to be housed using the Ayush systems. But unfortunately, this is not working. Because what is needed is a close contact, both the systems, doctors of both the systems, to give the best remedy for the patients. How do we actualize here in our Arogya Dham in Prashanti Kutir? We got all the doctors, allopathy, Ayurveda, naturopathy, physiotherapy, acupuncture, all under one roof. When the patient comes, we all sit together and look at the case history and say which is the first line of attack. Most of these people, when we take in medicine, we say, okay, we'll start with yoga, integrated approach of yoga therapy. As we proceed, we find that if we add on to this, the Ayurveda dimension of Panchakarma and others, it will work wonders. This is how we are progressing towards building integrative health system. Yet another challenge is the drug interaction. When a person is taking allopathic medicine, if he starts on the Ayurveda drugs, is there a possibility of the drug interaction and cause more harm than good? Studies have undertaken, and it is yet to say for sure that the drug interaction will not be there. Or even if it is there, it's within the safe limits. So therefore, the integrative health is shaping up, and I'm sure it is going to come up wonderfully well, offering the real solution for the modern NCDs that we have. With that, we will have a host of speakers in this session who will bring about the different dimensions of the integrative health. And we thank the organizers for organizing such a beautiful event, and we'll do our best to make this as best as possible. We thank you all. Namaskar. Dhanyavad.
Thank you. As I indicated, Guruji, as he's known as Padam Shri Nagendra, has recorded it because he was traveling. And we will have more discussion, but please use chat line to share your comments. because this whole session is organized how to build capacity in our own system. And I'm very delighted to share with you that CINS and SVYASA are collaborating in developing courses on integrative thinking, integrative care, and we are hoping that we could build that capacity in our own system locally. Very, very happy to see that Dr. Stephen Smith from SFU, and as I already indicated, Sharman Lee from KPU, and Dr. Gavin Stewart from UBC have joined us, and the CINS will be making recommendations and working with these individuals to see how we could incorporate some of the principles of integrative thinking in our own healthcare system. In my own Fraser Health, with the emerging new hospital coming and new medical school at SFU, all this will be a great opportunity. So, my friends, this session is a practical session of how to build more sustainable healthcare.